Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you. This is a new presentation from www.central-mosque.com and the Humble Heart YouTube channel. It is the 38th episode of the Making Sense series. And today we're going to talk about the events which are happening in the Middle East, Israel, US, and Iran, and what is most likely going to happen in the future. There is a video that I did some time ago where I talked about the inevitable end of Israel. The link is going to be in the top right hand corner. I have explained a few technical terms in that video. I'm going to refer to it in this one, but if you want to know the details, please click on the top right hand corner to understand the terms and detail of what I talked about. So let's begin. The first question that people ask is, why did Israel attack Iran now? So we've been talking about this topic for decades, right? Most of my adult life, saying Israel is going to attack Iran, Israel is going to attack Iran. So why now? Very simple, because Israel has seen the opportunity and it thinks it's the best time to do it. Why? Because Hezbollah has been weakened, significantly weakened. It is one of the proxy forces of Iran. Hamas has been weakened because of the tragic, barbaric events which are ongoing in Gaza. Hamas has been weakened, not ended, but significantly weakened. Israel can see that. Syria is no longer a proxy prey ground by Iran. So Iran was able to use Syria to its benefits to wage its own proxy wars. It can no longer do that. And so Iran understands that all of these influences and all of these proxies that Iran uses have their strength has been diminished. So Iran can see that, hey, okay, I am now weak. What am I going to do to compensate? So one of the things it can do to compensate is to actually gain nuclear capability. And Israel cannot be allowed to compensate. It is weak. It is probably the weakest it's ever been in the Middle East in terms of influence. So Israel sees this opportunity, and that is the reason why Israel has attacked Iran now, because it sees it as a golden ticket. So when you look at a lot of political analysts and stuff who game what is going to happen in the Middle East, they use something called game theory. So a lot of Muslims may not understand what is game theory. Let me just try to make you understand this in very simplistic terms. So imagine if there's a cookie jar and there's just one cookie, and it's me and two other people who want to get their hands on this single cookie. So game theory simply means that, you know, hey, I want to get this cookie, but in order for me to get this successfully, I need to game it out. I need to think, okay, so there's another brother. If he tries to get his hands on this cookie, what am I going to do? If I try to open the lid and try to get the cookie, what is he going to do? What is the third guy going to do? So for every time I attempt to get my hands onto this cookie, there's going to be a reaction from this brother and this brother. And this is what the game theory is all about. So I need to try to get my hands onto this cookie, but for me to do this successfully, I need to be able to think about their reaction and stop their reaction and anticipate it. Now, before I can do that, I need to anticipate. I need to know, okay, so if I try to reach for it, this brother's going to push my hand away, or he's going to hit me, or he's going to do something. That's all the game theory is all about. So 99% of the political analysts and people on the internet or on YouTube who try to tell you what is going to happen in the Middle East are using this game theory. So they think America is going to attack, let's say, Iran. They're going to do strikes on Iran. In return, Iran is going to do that. In return, America is going to do that, and so on and so forth. So in order for us to do game theory, we need to understand clearly what each side in the conflict want. So that's a pretty simple exercise. Israel wants to achieve and become Greater Israel, or the Empire of Israel. So here's a map of Greater Israel, but it isn't just about being bigger. So one of the biggest problems of Israel, as I talked about in this video right here, where I think Israel will inevitably fail or fall, is because Israel is too small and its demographics are too low. In order to compensate for it, Israel needs to get bigger. So, but it isn't just about the size. Not only Israel wants to get bigger in size, but it wants to dominate the world. That's the end game. That's what Israel wants. It wants to get hugely bigger than what it is. It's literally a slither right here, right now, just a slither. It wants to get humongously bigger, but it wants to get humongously more powerful. So that's what Israel wants in the game theory. We know that. That's their end game. What does the United States want? Very simple. United States wants to control the minerals and riches of the world. And, right now, the latest news, you're talking about the rare earth minerals which are used in, the Iron Dome, which Israel is using. The interceptors use rare metals. Your phone uses it. The chips in your car uses it. So United States wants to control the minerals, and the riches of the world to its own benefits. In other words, if you're allied with the United States, you get access to this stuff. If you're against the United States, they want to stop your access to it. And they also want to control the political direction of the world. So things that are happening in the world, so if the United States has a foreign policy, so United States, let's say, wants to embargo a certain country, doesn't matter if it's a Muslim country in the Middle East or another country in South America, let's say, United States wants everybody to support them. That's what United States wants. It wants to remain the global cop of the world. Fair enough. So we've discussed Israel, we've discussed the United States. What does Iran want? Very simple. Iran wants to become the de facto leader of the Muslims, of the entire Ummah, and they want to assist the army of Mahdi. So Muslims believe in the end times there will be a Messiah that will come on this earth. Messiah or Jesus Christ will return on this earth, and to assist Jesus Christ, there will be a figure that both Shias and Muslims believe, and the figure is titled Mahdi. So Shias, their belief is slightly different, but they also have this belief of Mahdi. Sunnis also believe in Mahdi. Iran, being a de facto Shia country, want to be in the army of Mahdi to then assist the return of Messiah or Jesus Christ. That's what Iran wants. So in the game theory, we've now gamed it out. We know what the end goal of each country is. So once again, Israel want to become greater. Israel, not only bigger in size, but also politically so powerful that nobody can ever challenge it. United States want to control the minerals and riches of the world, also want to control the political direction of the world. Iran wants to become the de facto leader of the Muslims and assist the army of Mahdi, the coming Mahdi who will assist the return of Messiah. Okay, so we know what each side wants. How do they want it? That's the question. So in order for Israel to get bigger and bigger and powerful, it is important for Israel to destroy both the American power and the Iranian power. So obviously, Israel thinks that Iran is powerful in the Middle East and Iran is against it. So Israel wants to destroy Iran. Got it. But you might be thinking, wait a second, why does Israel want to destroy America? Because in order for Israel to become greater Israel, it doesn't want to rely on America, Donald Trump, or whether it's Biden or Obama, whoever, to be able to deploy American troops, to be able to do something. It does not want to do anything like that whatsoever. It wants to have absolute power. In order for Israel to become absolute power, both the Iranians and the Americans have to be destroyed. Okay? Their power has to be destroyed. Let me put it this way. Okay, United States wants, as I said, want to control the minerals and the political power of the world. How does it want to do that? It wants to do that with as little casualties as possible and at little cost as possible. So right now, when I'm recording this in June 2025, President Trump is the president of the United States, and he's come at the back of the MAGA movement, which means people are sick of forever wars in America. America has a massive deficit. I live here in America in the South. The country is in bad shape. The infrastructure is in bad shape. The roads are in bad shape. The cities are in decline. So America doesn't have the money to be fighting all these wars overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq and so on and so forth. So people are sick of it, and that's why Donald Trump has been elected as the president. So America wants to be powerful, but they want to do that with as little casualties because people don't want dead American bodies coming back to America, and they don't want the cost. Great. Okay, so how does Iran want to become the global leader of the Muslims and want to be in the army of the Mahdi? Iran wants to do that by dragging America and Israel into a ground war. So here's Israel, okay, and Iran is here. So they're quite far away. Okay, and Israel is technologically, from the Air Force point of view, very powerful. So it can keep attacking Iran, keep attacking Iran. Iran is not able to do that. Its Air Force is not as powerful. The only way Iran can do that is if Americans and Israel come into Iran somehow in a ground war, and Iran can then fight a battle of attrition and against both America and Israel. Okay, so each side's enough. So I've just now explained the end game, what each side wants, how they want it. Okay, so let me just tell you what happened in around 2020. So Americans killed Soleimani, one of the commanders of Iran. Okay, and people are like, oh, Iran's got to react. They've got to do something against the United States. Iran fired dozens of missiles at a US base. So this is a tit for tat diplomatically. Americans did something, Iran did something, and let's call it a day, right? Everybody goes home with a little bit of win, with a little bit of chest thumping. America says, oh, we killed, an Irani commander. Iran says, oh, we attacked American base. Thank you very much. It's over. Okay, so in a diplomatic tit for tat, this is it, right? This is an off ramp. Each side can take a little bit of win and back off. So I've explained this in my video here, where where I'm saying that Israel, it will not last. Okay, this is, you get off the escalation ladder, you no longer escalate. Okay, that's it. So that happened, as the date says, January 7, 2020. Biden was coming to the office, off ramp, off you go. So the same thing is kind of happened right now. So United States have attacked Iranian nuclear sites, and it is likely that Iran is going to attack some US base somewhere, or maybe multiple US bases somewhere. And if America wants to maintain its hegemony, maintain its power, it will kind of call it a day. Okay, and they will say nothing happened really. There was some, the bomb damaged the runway, or the bomb damaged a few buildings. There was no loss of life, minor casualties. That's exactly what happened in January 2020, as Americans claimed. Everybody called it a day. Everybody went home. So no more escalation. However, let me explain to you, what happens when somebody weak gets bullied. So imagine you're at school and you're a weak person, and a bully attacks you. Okay, so as far as the bully is concerned, the bully is beating you or whatever, you've got a few choices at this time, right? You can take the beating, keep on taking the beating. Okay, you can go to your teacher or the principals and report and say, hey, the bully is beating me, and they can do something about it. Or you can hit back. So you have a number of choices. I want you to very clearly understand what I'm trying to say. Although you're the weaker person here, but you have a number of choices, right? You can then, maybe another choice would be you get 4 or 5 of your friends and you go beat up the bully. You have a number of choices. The bully does not have a choice, because the minute you retaliate, you do something against the bully has to hit you, because the bully has a reputation to maintain, right? Because if you hit the bully, you don't do anything, the school is not scared of you anymore, right? The bully has to keep hitting you, and keep hitting you harder and harder and harder. And that's why I explain in this video as to why Israel will fall, because of escalation dominance, right? The bully has to keep hitting you. Simple. You have a number of choices, including not doing anything. The bully has no choice. Every time a bully is confronted, the bully has to hit you back harder and harder than you can hit. Okay? Now, here's the problem with game theory. When you're on the internet and you're listening to all these political pundits that tell you that, hey, this is the game theory, this is what Israel has to do, this is what the United States has to do, this is what Iran has to do, this is how they do it, that's politically fine. But you cannot understand the Middle East without understanding the 3 religions, or let me be specific, eschatology, the knowledge of end times of the 3 religions, which is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So let's talk about Judaism. Okay, so the Zionist eschatology says, in fact, actually Jews believe this, that they're the chosen people of God. So they're the chosen people of God. That means everybody else is subservient. Okay, they're lower than the chosen. So if you're the chosen people, that means everybody else is not the chosen person. Everybody is at a reduced level. Okay, so that's the first concept. And they believe that because they're the chosen people of God, towards the end time, they will create this spectacular empire and they will be all powerful. That's what Israelis or the Jews or the Zionists believe in. In the United States, I live in the south of the United States, and the Christian evangelicals believe in the return of Messiah. If you do not live in the American South, and you even live in London or you live in New York or somewhere else, right, you don't understand the relationship between Israel and the United States. They're Christian evangelicals in America who hate the Jews. I don't care how many YouTube videos you watch, or they keep visiting Israel and so on, but the Christians deep down know that the Jews killed Jesus Christ. They believe that, okay? But they want to use the Jews to precipitate the return of Messiah, okay? So they know that all of this end times and the war and everything is written in the Bible. It is going to happen in the Middle East, specifically in Israel. And they don't care about that. They want to bring that about because they believe it will be the Christians who will rule the world in a just new world. So in the first part, it will be the Jews who will rule this all-powerful kingdom. In the second part, it will be the Christians who will rule this. And by the way, the Christian evangelicals, when you speak to him here in the South, you ask them the question, okay, when Christ returns, all of this stuff is going to happen in the Middle East. What's going to happen to the Jews? They tell you the Jews are going to die. Muslims are going to die. Jews are going to die. It'll just be Christians. Okay. Now let's look at the Shia doctrine. Okay. So in Islam, we also believe in the return of Messiah, Jesus Christ, and we believe he's going to kill the Antichrist. But before that happens, there will be a return of a person called Mahdi. Now, Shia and Sunni have slightly differing beliefs about this person called Mahdi, and the Iranis or the Shias truly believe that they can assist in the return of Mahdi, which will lead to the return of Jesus Messiah, who will kill the Antichrist, called Dajjal in Islam. So you cannot understand the Middle East unless you understand eschatology of all three religions. Now, all three religions believe, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam believe that there will be, there will be good in the world and, all peace in the world, etc. But all three believe that there will be war, massive war, before that peace returns. So Christianity is very famous. I mean, there's so many movies by this name. The end war is called Armageddon. Okay, so they believe Jesus returns, the enemies are Antichrist and the evil, and the final victory of God. And I'm going to talk about Judaism. They believed in the war of Gog and Magog. So Gog is the king, and the place where his army comes from is called Magog. And Gog and Magog together will wage a war on the land of Israel, but God will help the land of Israel. Okay, and then they will become a powerful kingdom and there will be peace. In Islam, it is called Al-Malhamatul Kubra, the Grand War, big war. You can also call it Armageddon. And they believe the Mahdi will fight, and then Jesus will descend, and it will fight Antichrist called Dajjal in Islam, and it will end in the defeat of Dajjal, and peace will begin again. By the way, in Islam, the war is called Al-Malhamatul Kubra. In Judaism, it's called Malhamatul Gog Magog. Okay, it's the same word that it's used. In any case, because you cannot understand what is happening in the Middle East without religion. Israelis truly believe that a big part of the army of Magog will come from the regions which we now know as Turkey, Russia, and Persia, and that is the reason why sooner or later Israel will turn on Turkey. It is inevitable because it is part of their belief. Okay. So now I talked about America first. If you're truly America first and you truly want American enterprise to continue, then as I talked about, America attacked the nuclear sites in Iran. Iran's going to probably attack some US bases somewhere. If you really truly wanted American power to continue, that will be it. Right? And you will back out and people say, hey, okay, we did this, they did this, fine, move on, right? However, We are dealing with a narcissist in the White House called Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a bully. Donald Trump is a narcissist. So now I bring in my theory of what I talked about the bully. So what happens when you hit the bully? The bully has to hit you hard. Okay? So if Iran hits US bases somewhere in the Middle East, Donald Trump is going to hit hard. He's going to react. Okay? And he's going to react massively because that's how Donald Trump works. Everything that he calls everything, he exaggerates everything. A bill is called the big beautiful bill, and so on and so forth, right? So, and he's gonna, because of his ego, most likely going to commit ground troops in the Middle East. And I'm telling you, remember, Israel and Iran both want it for different reasons. Israel want American ground troops because they want American power to come to an end. Iran wants ground troops so the war can come to their doorstep so they can fight back, because technologically they cannot fight back. Okay? As a result of Donald Trump committing ground troops in the Middle East, there will be American deaths. It is going to happen. They will probably reinstate draft, because this is deeply, I'm telling you, I'm right here in the South, in America, and it is deeply unpopular. And if there's going to be even one or two body bags come back to America, this is going to be protests, civil wars, because nobody wants to. People are sick and tired of all these overseas wars. They don't want to do that. The only way for America to continue to fight in the Middle East is to reinstate the draft, just like what happened in Vietnam and so on and so forth. That is going to give rise to protests and civil war. All of this perfectly suits Donald Trump, because if you look at Donald Trump, what is he doing? He is assuming emergency powers. Everything he assumes emergency powers. Sending troops to Los Angeles, emergency powers, right? It is perfectly fine. It also suits the MAGA movement, because if there's chaos, protests, civil wars in the streets of America, in order to hold on, they will go into the third term. Whether this third term in Donald Trump is already old, but let's say he survives, in 2024, they will say, okay, hey, there's chaos on the streets of America. We got no choice but to continue the presidency. Okay, that suits them fine. By the way, another question people ask, and a lot of people ask this question. They say, how come Christians and evangelicals who are supposed to follow the Bible, how come they back Donald Trump and these crazies of MAGA? The reason being is the conservatives, they have got two goals. One, they want to turn America into a Christian theocracy. So in American schools, there'll be Christian prayers, there will be Christian symbols, Christian signs in America, and the MAGA movement suits them fine, because Donald Trump, the crazies that he has unleashed, they do that. And secondly, as I've told you, the evangelicals and the conservative Christians in America want to bring about Armageddon. So Jesus, there will be rapture, and everybody else apart from Christians, Christians will rule the world in a just world. Everybody, it doesn't matter whether you're a Hindu, a Christian, Muslim, Zionist, whatever. Everybody knows this world is not right. Things are happening in the world which are not fair. Bad things are happening in the world. So everybody wants the world to be good. Everybody wants the world to have peace, right? And as I'm telling you, you cannot understand what's going on, right, without understanding all three religions, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, anticipate and predict that there will be a war, a massive, massive war in which millions will die, will be perished before peace can begin. Now, each religion thinks that they will win. So Christianity thinks that they will, the kingdom of God will be established. Judaism thinks the greater Israel will be established, and Muslims believe that Dajjal, Antichrist, will be defeated and peace and prosperity will return. The point I'm trying to make here is you need to focus on this part right here, that each religion believes that there will be massive, massive war, a war that this world has never seen, a world that will make World War II looks like child play. Okay, so we are dealing with a narcissist called Donald Trump, and because of his ego, right, he will hit hard, and it is likely that the world will be ushered in death and destruction, the likes of it which we will never see. May Allah Ta'ala give us all peace, prosperity, safety, and security. Ameen.